Welcome to ObscuraTime, where forgotten stories rise from the shadows of history. Tonight, we journey back to a time when curiosity lost its humanity, when the world's thirst for science and spectacle turned a man into an exhibit. This is the heartbreaking story of Ota Benga, the African man displayed in a zoo. He was born in the lush forests of the Congo, a land of deep rivers, green canopy, and ancient voices. Among the Muti people, he learned to hunt, to sing, to dance with the rhythm of the earth. His tribe lived in harmony with the forest, calling it their mother, their protector, their home. But far across the sea, a different world was rising, one built on conquest, greed, and a false belief in racial superiority. It was the dawn of the 20th century. Europe's empires carved up Africa like a map of gold and ivory, and one of the cruelest of them all was King Leopold II of Belgium. Under his rule, millions in the Congo were enslaved and forced to harvest rubber. Hands were cut off, villages burned, lives destroyed. Ota Benga's own family perished in that terror. He was captured by slave traders, a survivor of a massacre, and sold to an American explorer named Samuel Phillips Verner. Verner claimed he wanted to study African people for science, but in truth, he wanted to show them off. So in 1904, Ota Benga was shipped across the Atlantic Ocean, not as a man, but as a part of a human exhibition. He arrived in America to the roaring crowds of the St. Louis World's Fair. Thousands came to gawk at so-called primitive tribes. They laughed, took photographs, and watched as Ota Benga was forced to live in a fake African village, surrounded by strangers and stares. To them, he was not human. He was a display. When the fair ended, Ota Benga stayed behind. He tried to adjust, even found a church that treated him with kindness. But the world had not finished humiliating him. In 1906, Verner brought him to New York City, the heart of modern civilization. There, instead of being given freedom, Ota Benga was taken to the Bronx Zoo, and inside the zoo's monkey house, he was placed in a cage. Beside him, an orangutan. A sign hung outside that read, "The African Pygmy." Age 23, height 4 feet 11 inches, weight 103 pounds. Crowds gathered in the thousands. They pointed, they laughed. Some threw food. Children screamed in excitement, and newspapers called it a sensation. The zoo director, William Hornaday, defended it, saying it was for education. But the truth was simpler and far more cruel. They put a man in a cage because of the color of his skin. Reports say Ota Benga sometimes smiled and waved at visitors, perhaps out of fear or pride. Other times he grew angry, shooting arrows at the crowd in frustration. The more he resisted, the more they laughed. But not everyone accepted the horror. Black ministers across New York spoke out fiercely. Reverend James Gordon thundered in protest. The person responsible for this outrage should take the place of the man in the cage. Under mounting public outrage, Ota Benga was finally released. He was sent to a church-run home in Virginia, where he tried to start over. He dressed in fine clothes, went to school, and even dreamed of returning to Africa one day. But freedom came too late. The scars of humiliation ran too deep. He struggled to fit in, to be seen, to belong. At night, he would sit alone by the window, staring at the stars, whispering to the forest he once called home. He missed his people. He missed the sound of the drums. He missed being human. On a quiet March evening in 1916, 10 years after his ordeal in the zoo, Ota Benga walked into a shed behind the mission school and ended his life with a single bullet to the heart. He was just 32 years old. There was no monument for him, No apology, only silence. But his story did not die. It lingers like a wound in history, reminding us of how civilization once stripped a man of his dignity and called it science. Ota Benga's name lives on not as a symbol of sorrow, but as a warning that a true measure of humanity is not in our progress or our power, but in our compassion. This was the story of Ota Benga, a man who deserved respect, freedom, and life, but found only cages. May we never forget him. This is ObscuraTime. For more deep historical stories like this, keep following us. Thank you.